Namaste, Jai Bharat. Confusions at the level of concepts really have two levels. One at personal, individual level, but then there are such confusions on a social level, on a general level. That is, many people, or rather majority in the social system, carry wrong concepts or conceptual confusion. It's not confusions, they treat that as the real concept generally and function through that. So here I would like to go into unpacking a concept of such a concept which is in a general level, like almost everyone thinks that this is the case, whereas that really is not the case. I'm talking about the confusions between Varna and Jati. Of course, students of philosophy know that these two are two different things. But then general people commonly treat them as synonyms. Varna is Jati, Jati is Varna. This is a big confusion. There are. I came across an expression that one is born a Brahmin. That's by way of a comment which I got on my video, one of my video, which and the comment is that Ravana is born a Brahmin. Now here is a very serious conceptual confusion or conceptual mistake. It's more of a mistake than a confusion to say that one is born a Brahmin, which really is not the case. There's so many sayings to substantiate this. And Jati, of course, is a lesser concept, which in fact has nothing to do with Varna. First, let me speak of Varna, and then let me try to speak of Jati, which is more precipitating, and where the anti-Bharatiya forces are very interested in the caste phenomenon with an explicit reason. They're going to do it after the election result. They're going to do it because that's one thing which they think can be instrumental in disuniting a united society. That is, make differences among the castes so that there will be differences and they can take advantage of situations where people are different from one. People think that they are different from one another. First, let me see what Varna is. Varna is a social stratification method, which I have done one video prior to this also about Republic of Plato, where he structures a society through four classes of people or four kinds of people. Now, he also doesn't say no one is born into a particular kind. He says depending upon certain aspect of the behavior of or the structure of an individual soul, one gets into one of this categorization. Four categories he speaks of. In Bharatiya archetype society, which is a Vedic society, there are four Varnas. Varna is a quality concept. If you look into the Sanskriti, that is, if you look into the Vedic civilization, you see the Vedic people, the Sanskrit people use a lot of connotative concepts. That is, quality-based concepts. They call somebody something on the basis of the given quality. They are connotative concept, a quality concept. All the four Varnas, I am not going into the details of the four Varnas, all four Varnas are quality concept. That is, given this Varna, you belong to this Varna. given these qualities, these qualities, you belong to this Varna. Given these qualities, you belong to this Varna, this Varna, this Varna. That's it. And no Varna is inferior or no Varna is superior per se. It is how, depending on your ability, one functions. A person can perform his social responsibility in a manner of X. Another person performs his social existence through a manner X of Y. That is how the nature is. You cannot make a nature stereotyped. That is not possible. So that is the natural system of nature with variations. Nothing is greater, nothing is lesser. That is how one should perceive things. So one with the given qualities falls into the category of Brahmana. Then others with the given qualities falls into the category of Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, whatever it is. And now none is inferior, one is superior. None is superior. Now the dynamism in this social stratification of Vedic society, if you look at the dynamism, you will at once rule out the caste concept of your mind. That is, one goes from one Varna to another Varna. There is a change of Varna, given change in qualitative existence. A Brahmana can become a Kshatriya, a Shudra can become a Brahmana, depending on his functional existence. This going up, down, and a Brahmana can become Shudra, which of course Manusmriti itself speaks of. That Manu at some point says these people become Anaryas because they have lost their qualities. So that exactly is the case with the Varna system. If you have, when you possess given qualities of a Varna, you are into that. And the moment you lose it, you go out of that quality. This is not a permanent army commission. It's not a permanent position that once you are that, you remain that. It's something like modern corporate system that you work and you are looked after basing on your performance. You work on the basis of your work performance, which is actually your abilities and qualities that you're looked after, you're paid or whatever. And once you lose it, it's of a corporate sector, it is not that serious possibility that you may lose position at once, but maybe gradually you may also lose your position. But in Varna system, you will immediately cease to be whichever Varna you are in, and your Varna will be shifted either to something intellectual where the Brahmana comes, and something else depending on what kind of quality you acquire. So you can acquire and you can lose. You have seen many, you have seen cases in front of you where a person had given noble qualities, and then due to some reason or the other or some situations, he loses all those qualities. I personally know used to be a good friend of me. I don't know, I have not met him in really, but then I heard that he was so noble in younger days, during the student days, but then of late, after so many years, 30 years, 40 years, I hear people telling that he had changed a lot. He had changed a lot. He became someone else. There are also experiences that one has, that someone who was very close to you suddenly suddenly doesn't recognize you. That warmth and all you expect when you come across such a person, but then he doesn't recognize you as he used to once upon a time. So this kind of changes takes place in people's lives, and that is nothing unnatural. It's natural. It is natural way. That's how the things are. So Varna, one can keep changing, and Varna is that you become, not being. There's a difference between being and becoming. Varna is not a being. Varna is becoming. Now, subsequently, through time, this Varna concept somehow got deteriorated as Jati, which is caste, which has nothing to do with the Varna. Jati is very interesting phenomenon. There is no uniformity in Jati, in the sense we are such a mighty and vast nation, Bharat. You go to different places, you can see Jati everywhere, but you don't see the same Jati everywhere. Please see. You can see Jati, caste everywhere, but the caste or Jati is not the same everywhere. In fact, from district to district, the caste varies. Leave alone from area to area, leave alone from pranta to pranta. In district to district, from district to district, the caste is very varying. Suddenly, what caste X used to be at one point, at other place, you don't find that caste at all. Either you don't find that caste at all, or you find an entirely different caste, and the people are also not similar. Their caste is not a functional in that sense. Caste is not a quality concept, so it is very difficult to ascertain. It's a name somehow. It used to be probably associated with the work you do, not really profession, but the work you do. Then that is how slowly the caste set in, and maybe it's a case that your generations might continue the work that you do, so they continue carrying the name. If the work has got a name which has got associated with you as a caste, it continues. But other than that, caste can't be a reality in the true sense of the term, though it is functional, though it is very functionally existing. So, caste is an entirely different phenomenon. A friend of me who used to argue that caste is a reality, and I used to talk to him that it is not the case. But the kind of concept of reality he was presenting in front of me, and the kind of concept of reality which I used to present to him may be different. And my friend used to be a vice chancellor. We used to seriously argue, very close friend of mine. But caste has no uniform identity, and caste is not the same everywhere. People try to make it similar. People try to make it similar at this end of the time, subsequently, but then that really is not the case. Is not the case. So it's not transferred. Even caste is not transferred from father to son, or from one generation to another, though people think that is the case. You don't transfer it, because there is no perceivable identity in the caste, except that you believe it, or you are rather made to believe it. And these days people obtain certificates because there may be benefits of caste. By being into the caste, you may be getting some small small benefits. So that way caste continues. For it's someone can call it as a continuous because it is functionally real. Somebody like me would say it's not real. It's only temporary, in the sense it's only fictionally imagined. You think that is the case, but then it's not the case. So Varna is certainly not caste, and there is no equation between Varna and the caste. They are not one and the same. The reference which I found is that Ravana was born a Brahmana. Yeah, because his father was a Maharshi. Parents were supposed to be Brahmins. But you cannot be born a Brahman. Nobody can be born a Brahman. You are born into. He had great knowledge. The reference was about Ravana. He had great knowledge. Undoubtedly. But how he puts his knowledge into use is one thing, and how the knowledge affects him is another thing. These are the two important criteria to understand how true knowledge is true knowledge. How true knowledge is really true knowledge. It is how what the knowledge does to you, yourself. Some time back I made a talk about Maharshi Gautama's theory of information affecting you to turn yourself into a refined person, and then only that becomes knowledge. So Ravana had great knowledge, they say, but I would say it's information. Largely knowledge maybe, wherever it was affected him, and largely where it was not affected him, it remained only at the level of information, not gone into knowledge. Ravana had great qualities, but he also had great negative qualities. In one word, he remained atharmi, for which he had to pay. So let's understand that caste is different from Varna. Varna is not caste. That confusion continues because people still practically also they treat Brahmana as a caste, Kshatriya as a caste. Of course, there is no perceivable Kshatriya, but Brahmana is found throughout in all societies. Brahmana is a caste. This is a Shudra is, of course, you don't find any perceivable, but only Brahmana you find as a you think that it's a caste, but it is not a caste. It is not a caste. It's only a quality concept. One has to really become a Brahman, in spite of the fact whether his father used to be a Brahman or not. The becoming Brahman is important. Being is not a Brahman, but becoming is a Brahman. And therefore, anybody can become Brahman given the qualities. And people have become Brahmins. Anybody can become a sannyasi. And a sannyasi goes beyond the caste system or even Varna system. So let's escape from such confusions. These are very rigid confusions. They are much in the practical existence. They are much in the practical manner. Let's try to avoid it slowly so that in time we can get rid of these such maladies from our society. So till we meet again for some time. Namaste. Jai Bharat. Jai Shri Ram.